According to people familiar with Facebook's findings, company officials told congressional investigators on September 6 that they discovered political ads on its site bought by a Russian company during the 2016 election. The Washington Post House and Senate investigators have grown increasingly concerned that Facebook is withholding key information that could illuminate the shape and extent of a Russian propaganda campaign aimed at tilting the U.S. presidential election. According to people familiar with the probe. Among the information Capitol Hill investigators are seeking is the full internal draft report from an inquiry the company conducted this spring into Russian election meddling but did not release at the time, said these people who, like others interviewed for this story, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss matters under investigation. A 13-page white paper that Facebook published in April drew from this fuller internal report but left out critical details about how the Russian operation worked and how Facebook discovered it, according to people briefed on its contents. Investigators believe the company has not fully examined all potential ways that Russians could have manipulated Facebook's sprawling social media platform. A particularly sore point among Hill investigators is that Facebook has shared more extensive information, including ads bought through fake Russian accounts, with special counsel Robert S. Mueller III, who is conducting a separate probe into alleged coordination between Russia and President Trump's campaign. Some members of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees were irritated that Facebook staff showed them copies of the ads but would not let the committees keep the documents for further study. It's always a little problematic when you come before a committee and show them documents and then take them back, said Senator Mark R. Warner, Virginia, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. My hope is they will be more cooperative going forward. Facebook spokesman Tom Reynolds said the company has worked to be as transparent as possible. We have voluntarily and proactively briefed both members and committee staff and look forward to continued cooperation, he said. Federal law and the ongoing investigation may limit what we can release publicly. The investigators' frustrations follow Facebook's announcement earlier this month that accounts traced to a shadowy Russian internet company had purchased at least $100,000 in ads during the 2016 election season. Warner and his Democratic counterpart on the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Adam B. Schiff of California, have been increasingly vocal in recent days about their frustrations with Facebook. Congressional investigators are questioning whether the Facebook review that yielded those findings was sufficiently thorough. They said some of the ad purchases that Facebook has unearthed so far had obvious Russian fingerprints, including Russian addresses and payments made in rubles, the Russian currency. Investigators are pushing Facebook to use its powerful data crunching ability to track relationships among accounts and ad purchases that may not be as obvious, with the goal of potentially detecting subtle patterns of behavior and content shared by several Facebook users or advertisers. Such connections, if they exist and can be discovered, might make clear the nature and reach of the Russian propaganda campaign and whether there was collusion between foreign and domestic political actors. Investigators also are pushing for fuller answers from Google and Twitter, both of which may have been targets of Russian propaganda efforts during the 2016 campaign, according to several independent researchers and Hill investigators. The internal analysis Facebook has done, on Russian ads, has been very helpful, but we need to know if it's complete, Schiff said. I don't think Facebook fully knows the answer yet. Google spokeswoman Andrea Favale said the company is always monitoring for abuse or violations of our policies and we've seen no evidence this type of ad campaign was run on our platforms. A Twitter spokesman declined to comment. Warner said Twitter plans to brief lawmakers in the coming weeks. Trump and campaign officials have denied any coordination with Russia during the election. Russian President Vladimir Putin also has denied intervening to help get Trump elected. Facebook began examining the ads following a May visit to Silicon Valley by Warner, who at the time asked executives if they had examined whether Russians use the company's advertising system. According to people briefed on the discussions. The delay in probing the possibility that Russians had used Facebook's multi-billion-dollar advertising system in its propaganda campaign has frustrated outside experts, who say the company has been slow to recognize the seriousness of the issues. All I can say is, wow, said Zeynep Tufkh,